Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well and welcome to the platform of CodeChef. So today we're going to be solving the problem Obsession with 7. The difficulty level for this problem is easy and the prerequisites require your basic mathematics and permutations. This is your educator Ansh and I hope you like my video. Let's proceed to the problem statement. Okay, now let us try to understand the problem statement. Rishabh gives you a number n and challenges you to check the divisibility of all the numbers formed from the permutations of digits of n by 7. For example, the permutations of 103, 103, 130, 13, 31, 310 and 301. Print the number of distinct permutations of n that are divisible by 7. So basically the question is quite clear that we are given n which will be maximum my 7-digit number, and then I am told that how many distinct permutations of n can be formed that are divisible by 7. So we can easily understand this question using the sample test cases. So here I have my 49. So as you can see, 49 has two permutations. Oh, sorry, I have my number as 94. So as you can see, my 94 has two permutations. One is 94 and one is 49. And out of those two, as you know, my 49 is divisible by 7. And hence, the answer for this particular case is 1 because 49 is divisible by 7, whereas 94 is not. Similarly, for my 27, the possible permutations are 27 and 72. And as you can see, both of them are not divisible by 7 and hence answer is 0. For my 4104, the permutations possible are nothing but 4 factorial permutations, and if you calculate, the answer in all those permutations will be 2. And similarly, you can calculate for 7619. So yeah, this is what the question is asking. For any general n, as you know, my n factorial permutations can be formed, right? So firstly, now how to approach this particular problem. So let us have a look at the constraints. My constraints are my test cases are up till 10 power 3 and my n is up till 10 power 7. Basically, my n is up till 10 power 7. That means my n will be maximum a 7-digit number, right? So maximum n will contain my 7 digits. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This n will contain. What we can do is we can use permutations module in we can just generate all the permutations by using the permutation module in libraries. In the standard template library or in Python, we can just get it using IT tools. So in C++, we can easily solve this question using the next permutation and generate all the permutations, whereas in Python, we can simply generate all the permutations using this particular function, right? And then, firstly, since we are told distinct permutations, what we can do is we can just take all the permutations and we can keep those permutations in a data structure such as set. So what set will do is it will remove all the all the duplicate permutations, right? So that will make a permutation distinct, and then what we can do is we can simply traverse in the number, and while traversing in the number, so while traversing in my permutations, so for I in my permutations, what we can do is then if my that number I is divisible by 7, I can simply increment my answer, and this becomes the approach to solve this particular problem, that simply generate all possible permutations, keep those permutations in a set in order to remove the duplicate permutations, and then simply traverse in the list of permutations that you just calculated, and if each and every number in that particular permutation is divisible by 7, then for that particular number we can just increment our answer, denoting that that permutation is valid or that particular permutation is divisible by 7. So yeah, that is the approach to solve this problem, and let's see how we can code this particular approach. Okay, now let us try to understand the code for the following problem. So as I discussed in the approach section, I can simply import my permutation module from IT tools in Python. Then for each test case, I can simply take the input. Then traveling for that particular case, what I can do is I can just take my input n as a string. So basically I'm taking as a string so that I could generate all the possible permutations, right? Then simply I can just generate all the permutations, and as I told, I can keep the set of that particular permutation because that set will remove all the duplicate entries from that permutation. And then finally I can convert into a list or an array. So yeah, finally I keep my answer as 0. and then I traverse in my permutations. And once I traverse in my permutations, I calculate firstly I join that because it is a string. So in Python you can simply join the string using this syntax, and then you can typecast it into integer data type. And once I integer typecast it into my integer data type, if my particular number was divisible by 7, then that becomes a required number, and we can just simply increment our e with +1, or that is our answer. So as I discussed in the approach section, just generate all the permutations and increment the answer. So the the approach, the logic why this particular code works is because the maximum digits can be 7. So at most there are 7 factorial permutations. So 7 factorial is approximately 10 power 3 or 5096, and you can easily ask this particular question in using that particular constraint, right? And then yeah, finally for each test case I print my answer. So let us run our code on the sample test cases to see whether everything is working correctly or not. So as you can see, we got the expected answer for the required test cases. Now let us submit my code and check on the actual test cases whether our code works correctly or not. So as you can see, we got the correct answer for the following problem, and yes, this becomes a valid approach to solve this problem. Okay, now let me discuss what people could do wrong in this particular problem. The only key observation here was that in the required time limit or the required constraints, you could just brute force all the permutations and calculate your answer. So if that approach was clear, I don't think anywhere else people could make mistakes logically or syntactically. So yeah, just remember one thing, whenever the constraints are small, you can just brute force all the permutations and easily get your answer. So yeah, this is the learning you get from this video. I hope you like my video. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.